Well, it's going to sound like I'm name dropping, but the very handsomest man in the world, Cary Grant, of all things, he and I became friends when I lived in Hollywood for a while. Just work live, he said. Do cameo parts in films, but don't do films. He said, it's so boring. He said, to make films, it takes hours and hours. You sit there early in the morning, and you may have 4 or 5 lines, 6 o'clock at night. So I took his advice, but he said, but you know what? He said, make sure when you play Britain, make sure you play the Palladium, because there's a lot of history involved with the reputation of the past, all the great performers. So I took him up on that, and then I was thrilled to find out that the Palladium wanted me to celebrate my 85th birthday. I have a different attitude about what people should do once they're 85. I'm never going to retire. I have too much to learn. I was born with a wonderful passion to sing and paint, and you never really finish painting. You can never really call yourself an artist, because there's so much to learn that every time you reach a certain level, you find out there's another level that will even make you a better artist. I'm really looking forward to the next album that I'm making, because my son came up with the idea of getting the most contemporary artists, and what I found out is how much of an amateur I was when I first started. These young performers now that are just quite famous, they're new artists. Queen Latifah is as good as Ella Fitzgerald. She sings beautiful on the record. She's made such a glorious record of the Leslie Bricusse and Anthony Newley song, Who Can I Turn To? And there's so many of them that I can't believe how good they are. Amy Winehouse was my favorite to perform with on the whole album. Every great artist I ever met, Frank Sinatra, Lena Horne, Pearl Bailey, they always have the butterflies. Duke Ellington, they'd always have, before they hit the stage, they were wondering if everything was going to work. And they had that nervousness. And Amy Winehouse was like that. She was just very apprehensive as to what was going to happen. And everybody just said, oh, I don't know how you're going to handle her. And but I felt completely different. I said, boy, she really loves to perform. And what turned the key at the record date, I said, I said to Amy, you sound a little like there's one of the great jazz singers, Dinah Washington. Well, the minute she heard that, her eyes popped wide open and completely inspired. She said, you know that I like Dinah Washington? And I said, it just sounds wonderful. Because I said, she was a friend of mine. She was a friend of yours? You knew her? She was all excited about that I knew Dinah Washington. And that was her main inspiration at the moment. And from that moment on, the record came out just beautiful.